everybody, and welcome back to the Football Brief podcast. I'm your host, Aaron, all the way in New York City. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Brad, over in sunny Manchester, briefing you on all the football news across the world. Let's get into it. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Cling.
What top you got on there?
Oh, United. Yeah, on that, they're back to winning ways on the weekend, so I feel like I could represent again. So here we go.
Come on, let's go.
Well, Villa aren't doing me any favours, so I thought, you know what, United for the win. So yeah, how's things with you? How's things over in the UK, bro?
Good, man. It's getting cold now. Couple degrees. We've had Storm Bert here.
Yeah.
Lots of rain. Yeah, man. But all gravy, man. All gravy.
I love they give these like full on names to these storms, like they're actual people. Like, oh yeah, Bert. Yeah, cool.
Alphabetical as well.
Okay, well, let's get into our episode. We're going to start off with some brief news, which is a new segment we're going to include, which is basically headlines that we're going to read out. We're not going to reply on them. Just you're going to give me some headlines. I'll give you a couple, and then we're going to move swiftly on to brief opinions. Obviously, brief opinions, as we know, we're going to try and keep down to a minute each on the reply, as it is a brief opinion. So that is the idea with that. And then from brief opinions, we'll go on to our brief discussion featuring our legendary spinner, which will pick one of our 4 topics. And then we will head on to our final segment, which this week is going to be Wally of the Week or Wally of the Weekend. So without further ado, let's get into it. Brief news. Here we go.
So City have conceded 17 goals in 14 games. Last 14 games across all competitions. Quick one with the Rodri side of things. He's a massive loss. 2.6% loss rate with Rodri. 36% loss rate without him.
Okay, nice. Juan Mata has announced that he has purchased shares of MLS team San Diego. Another one of these ex-footballers or celebrities who are, putting their money in or investing in football clubs. So that's that.
Juan Mata, man, servant for United. Time for that. My stats or news is based on a game, the Brentford game at the weekend. Brentford received their first red card in the league at the weekend against Everton. They have not received a red card previously, and Everton still couldn't beat them.
I think I know who that dig was for. Zinchenko, Arsenal Zinchenko, he's dropped a book like all these footballers do now, prematurely in my opinion, but he's dropped a book. And he's revealed that Arteta tells injured players to travel on the bus and bring wash bags into the dressing room to throw the opposition off the scent of his team selection. Just another one of Arteta's weird and wonderful tactics. I actually quite understand that, but just thought that was quite interesting. And my main thing with that is, why is Zinchenko dropping a book already? But anyway.
Airing out all Arsenal secrets. Nice though, man. Nice little bit of news there.
Thank you, brother. That wraps up the brief news. And we are now going to move on to brief opinions.
I'll shoot first on this one. All over the news, although on the back of a loss at the weekend, again, a 5th in the row. I don't think Pep's ever lost 4-0 at home either, especially not during his time at City. I'd like to get your thoughts on Pep's new contract extension, 2-year deal. What do you think? Good, bad, good for the league, City, bad?
Yeah, I have to admit it was a bit of a surprise. The biggest thing to me that indicates is that these 115 charges are probably going to go away, and I feel like City are going to get away with it. I'll say get away with it. They're probably going to win the case because it sounds like Pep's committing his long-term future based around that. City are going for a blip. Do I think it's the decline of Man City? I'm not too sure, but I do think they're missing Rodri. I think they're missing some key players. Players are off form. So, But it's fun for the league. It's good that they're slipping. It's not so good that Pep signed an extension. So we'll see. Major surgery needed, I think, for that squad.
Don't disagree, and I'm hopeful we'll get on to that topic later.
Hopefully. That is one of our brief topics. Teaser or spoiler. Okay. My first brief opinion for you. As it was a big weekend for Manchester United, in particular, Ruben Amorim. Sorry, Sir Ruben Amorim. Is he still a Sir in your eyes? You can
Sir Ruben, yeah.
I just want your opinion on Amorim's first match in charge, which finished Ipswich 1, Manchester United 1.
Yeah, look, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want him to come in and we win. But on reflection, I think it's a good representation of where we are. It doesn't hide anything from him. It was actually both his interviews done with Gary Neville on Sky Sports and his post-match interview, which just hammers it home that he's the opposite of Ten Hag. He didn't just pull out the good. He was quite honest and signalling out, Rashford and Johnny Evans in terms of not being able to commit to his style. And as he said to Gary Neville, the essence of it was, they'll be told what they need to be doing. They'll be given the chance to do it. If they don't do it, we'll get somebody that will. So I think it's going to take time. I think it's going to be a process, but in a way, on reflection, I'm happy because if we'd have gone and won 4-0, I feel like maybe it would have hidden things. And yet again, this group of players would have just turned it on because a new manager's come in. So nobody can hide from that performance at the weekend. And yeah, we'll see what comes.
Yeah, no, good. I agree.
So my one is about a Brazilian player that is tearing it up, man. Absolutely tearing it up. Bit of South American flair. I want to know what your thoughts are. Is Cunha taking over that spot as the Premier League's number 9 man? Like, his stats are good. The last few games he's looked tidy. What are your thoughts, man?
Well, my thoughts are, take from this what you want. He now features heavily in my FPL team as of, I think a couple of weeks before the international break. I made him captain for the game against Southampton. He came through with the points. Foolishly, I thought Fulham away. Fulham are good at home. He's not going to do as well. I benched him. Idiot. Benched him.
FPL.
And I was so gutted. But do you know what? I've always thought he was a good player. He's just an honest forward, and he's not selfish either. He scores the goals, but he makes the goals. And I think if Wolves want to have any realistic chance of staying up, I think they need him fit and scoring. So, yeah, and I was happy they got the win, actually, because I know we spoke a bit about Gary O'Neill and Wolves last pod or the pod before. And I was pleasantly surprised with the win. And I think, you know what, fair play to them. But Cunha is tearing it. If Villa want to go in for a cheeky January bid, I'm more than happy. More than happy.
Nice. Yeah, and just hopefully actually we'll get to that maybe the next pod, or maybe put it as a topic. But how long can they keep him for, man? Can they even keep him past January at this rate? Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, interesting one.
There'll be a new contract incoming, I imagine, for him, just to keep him or to get more money for him. But yeah. Right, this opinion is going to excite me. It's more of your opinion, yeah, okay, I'm going to go with it. So, hear me out first. I'm going to give a bit of context and you can reply. So, a remarkable story involving Jason Puncheon. Remember him?
Yeah,
so,
man.
just for listeners and viewers, Jason Puncheon, Brad had this obsession.
Great player, man. Great player.
We both have like a boss list of players that are random that we both love. And Jason Puncheon is like top of Brad's list. When he was at Palace, Southampton, Brad used to like eulogize about him, would obsess with him. So that's why I thought he would appreciate this opinion. So Jason Puncheon is doing some managerial bits over in the Cypriot League, random, but that's where he is. So he was managing Napa FC. He left by mutual consent after 2 matches. In those 2 matches, he got 2 wins and 2 players were sent off. He only joined, so he joined Napa FC on the 19th. Sorry, he joined Napa FC on, I want to say, October the 19th, and then he left on November the 20th. He then joined Cypriot rivals Akhritas on the 21st of November. So basically, and bear in mind, sorry, Ayanapo FC are a place above Akhritas. So then he basically joined their rivals, mid-table rivals, within after 2 games, left, and now he's tearing it up with this other team in the Cypriot League 2. Random as anything. What's your opinion? Do you miss him?
I love it. Puncheon worked hard, man. That's why he was on my boss list. He always left everything on the pitch. Guy was he was a workhorse. He was a bit of a powerhouse as well, man. He's great on the ball. Underrated player. JP, man. Jason Puncheon, my guy. 2 wins, 2 reds. Love that. Absolutely love that. Brilliant record. And fair play to him. It emulates who he was as a player. Like I say, he left everything on the pitch. Hard worker, man. So, you know what? If they're going to get rid of him or he's going to leave them, then see you later. I'm going to your rivals, man. I've got time for that. If you're getting rid of me after 2 games after I've given you 2 wins, forget about the red cards, man. Forget that.
Well,
Yeah.
they said it was mutual consent, but I don't know how that. I don't know.
They always say it's mutual consent, man, doesn't it? But yeah, no, I'm pleased, man. That's a nice bit of news. I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I thought it would brighten up your day.
Yeah, it needed that.
Good. Well, that was our brief opinions. Next, we're going to go on to the brief discussion. So I am going to pull up the legendary Football Brief spinner. While I'm doing that, if you want to take away the topics, Brad.
Absolutely. This week we've got number 1 is the decline of City. Manchester City, just to be clear. Number 2, we have Thomas Frank as Brentford manager. Recently done a big interview with Sky. Current. Number 3 is Leicester having sacked their manager.
Oh, yeah.
And number 4 is Brighton's recruitment department restructure.
Nice. Okay, some good topics there. Thank you for that, Brad. So, without further ado, I'm going to spin the spinner on 3, 2, 1. Here we go. We're spinning away. And today's brief topic is going to be brief topic number 2.
Thomas Frank.
Thomas Frank. Oh, I'm happy about that, actually.
Yeah, I'm down to that, man. I like Tom. I like Thomas.
Well, do you want to kick us off then with the brief discussion on Thomas Frank?
Do you know what? Honestly, I could speak about this as a United fan.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been disappointed to have Thomas Frank appointed. I know there's that whole thing of managers coming from those successful mid-table or, middle of the top half of the table kind of clubs. We've seen it with Potter, with Chelsea, with Moyes moving to United. But honestly, Thomas Frank, the interviews he's in, the guy is so chill. Nothing seems to bother him. Never seems to be the guy that'll be flying off a handle or knee-jerk reaction. Very pragmatic, very thoughtful. And having seen the big interview on Sky Sports with him over the weekend, actually a really, really intelligent guy tactically as well. You can see the way that he changes his teams depending on the opposition. He's not rigid at all, and he seems to have a really good connection with his players as well. I think he's a great man manager. So, yeah, I wouldn't have been disappointed to see him at United. Obviously, so Ruben's here now, completely behind him, but fast forward, rewind a month or so back, then, yeah, if he was in conversations, I'd have been delighted or very pleased to have him at the club, that's for sure.
I think that's a really, really good and honest opinion because, you've got Sir Ruben in now, and it would have been easy for you to say, look, we've got Sir Ruben, I'm not bothered. But actually, I think it's testament to Thomas Frank, and I want to speak a bit about this and sort of Brentford as well, because I do feel they fly under the radar slightly. And on the whole, I think Thomas Frank encapsulates what Brentford is as a club. They're a very family, community-run club. They just seem really nice. And I think Thomas Frank, I know it sounds a bit weird, but I think Thomas Frank, you see him in interviews, he's cool, calm. He's got that Danish, just no worries, man. It's all okay. His players want to play for him. I don't know if you saw the clip where I think Pinnock, their centre back, did he receive so many games he's played so many games for Brentford, and Thomas Frank did this really nice speech in the dressing room, and just a really nice guy, but like you said, also tactically astute. And I think Brentford are a hard team to play, and to consolidate them in the Premier League, which is no easy feat over the last 2 or 3 years, that's a credit to him. And I think I agree with you. I would really, and no slight on Brentford. I think, I like him. I like the fact he's at Brentford, and long may that continue for them. But I do think it'd be very interesting to see what he could do with a I say bigger club, but one of your sort of big boy top 6 teams, because I do think he's got a bit about him, and I think he's learned his craft a lot now in the Prem. And I can't speak highly enough of him. I think for the England job, even
I think it's great.
England job, the Man United job,
If Tuchel doesn't manage to get us there after his 18-month contract, because it pretty much takes Tuchel up to just after the World Cup, so he's here to win something, right, with Tuchel. That's what his contract from the FA's for. But I'm the same as you, man. Whether or not he'd want to take it, he might want to manage his home country if and when that comes. But even the fact, when you look actually at Christian Eriksen, when he, that awful scenario at the Euros, which was harrowing to watch. I remember. But his club in Italy, or he couldn't play in Italy due to their league rules not enabling that to happen. Spurs wouldn't have him back, and Brentford took him till the end of the season on a 6-month contract, and he did so well there under Thomas Frank that we took him on a free, and he's still at Manchester United today. So when you're saying they're a family field, really nice club, that's the feeling I get. Everyone seems to be happy playing there as well. The players play like they want to be there, like they're enjoying their football. And they play some really good football, man.
Yeah, they do. They do.
And if you think of Brentford, they've been in and around European places at various times since they've come up to the Premier League. I'm not saying they've ended up there every season. They haven't at all. But they've challenged. They've done really well. Like you say, solidified themselves up here. So I'd love to see them at a big club.
Yeah, when you think of like your Evertons and your Palaces of the world and your Wolves, and these teams are like that have been struggling, or they've just sort of been passengers in the league the last 2-3 seasons. Brentford aren't ever in that conversation of relegation contenders. You don't ever think, this season I could see Brentford, being one of those relegation candidates. They never are they? My next question for you about this: where would be a realistic destination for Thomas Frank if he were to leave Brentford? Sorry, Brentford fans, but if he was to leave Brentford, what would be a realistic club in the Premier League I'm talking about for him to go to? Where do you think he fits in?
We're talking top 6 clubs here, yeah?
I mean, realistically, I think cause you look at like West Ham and Leicester.
I hate to say it, and it kind of kills me to say this. I'm not sure about City, because I look at their squad and I struggle to see it with that squad at the moment. He'd have to make lots of changes. Do you know if Arteta got sacked from Arsenal? Because they're the ones that give longevity to their coaches. If you gave Thomas Frank 5 years at Arsenal, I could guarantee you he'd have won you more than Arteta's won you to date with that team. Because look at what he's getting out of Brentford players who aren't world-class players, who they're not world beaters. You haven't got Saka and Odegaard and Martinelli and, the best defence in the league. Imagine you gave Thomas Frank that. And he's a friendly guy, and, there is a lot of the lads enjoy playing for Arsenal. They do seem like, Arteta's definitely brought that family feel back to Arsenal and got the fans on side. And I think Thomas Frank could have done that and more with them. So, yeah, I think Arsenal, if Arteta's in trouble over the next season or two.
That's a tidy shout, that is.
I hate to say it, though. It kills me to say it.
Let's throw that out there. Do anybody agree with that? Disagree? Comment below. Let us know, because I think that's quite an out there opinion. But I think it's a realistic one as well, which that might please some fans and not others. But no, good. Well, Thomas Frank.
They've got a quite a young squad, haven't they? And I feel like he'd go in and nurture them all and put his arms around them and be there for them. So yeah.
Well, look, Thomas Frank and Brentford, you get the thumbs up from the Football Brief. Just keep doing what you're doing, and happy to watch you play every weekend. So good on you, boys and girls. Right then, that leads us now onto our final segment, which is this week, Wally of the Weekend. Now, this is basically somebody, manager, player, whoever, has just done something a bit silly, a bit dopey, a bit of a Wally. So I'm gonna send it your way, Brad, and you can give us our Wally of the Weekend.
Yeah, it's Wally of the weekend. This one has
Yeah.
got to be Salah for me. I know contract negotiations are ongoing with Liverpool. I always just feel like they should be done behind closed doors, man. And
Yeah.
he's come out and basically said, "So yeah, I'm probably more out than in at the moment." Said
What?
it to the tabloids, man. It's been reported on Sky Sports as well. Like, it's quote unquote. It's just an unnecessary comment to make. And it just makes him look silly. Just do your negotiations behind closed doors, man. You do not need to be announcing that I'm probably more out than in at the moment. Like, childish, man. You're an adult earning hundreds of £1,000s a week. Go and do your business behind closed doors in a boardroom with your agents, man. Jesus Christ. So, yeah, it's Wally of
What
the
a
week for me is
donut.
him.
What a
Yeah.
donut. Like, he's just scored the winner, the two important goals to get them, to send them 8 points clear at the top of the league. And he comes out speaking to some reporter. I don't even know who he's speaking to. Yeah,
Probably
that's,
more out than in.
well, Mohamed Salah, you win the Wally of the week. So yeah,
Wally of the week. Wally of
yeah,
the
you are a
week.
Wally. You're a great player, second coming and all that,
Oh,
but
you're
you're
a
a
brilliant
Wally.
player.
So,
Brilliant
okay.
player.
Well, thank you
You
for
can go
that,
to
Brad.
Saudi now, though. Bye bye.
Yeah, he's basically saying, right, guys, I'm out, so do you want to get me? Sounds a bit like Harry Kane, that. Um, anyway, well, look, thank you for that. Well, that concludes the episode for today, and we hope you've enjoyed it. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, do what you need to do, talk to us, let us know what's good, what's bad. We're all ears.
Yeah, get in the comments, man. Get in the comments below.
Yeah, man, please do.
Let us
It's
know what you think of Cunha. Let us know if you think Sear in decline. Let us know if any of the topics on the wheel you want to hear more of next week. We can always include them back on, man. But yeah,
and let's
been a good one
let's
again,
open
brother.
that. Yeah, let's open that discussion as well. Thomas Frank to Arsenal. Thomas Frank to Arsenal in the future. Let's do it. Let's get it out there. I want it out there. Just one quick shout out for me. My good friend Chad has a podcast called the Villa Forever Podcast, which I do feature on Mondays now. And just want to say he's doing some really good things. Has some really good interviews. He's actually got an interview with the Italian, the Italian football podcast revolving around Juventus for the pre Villa Juventus game. He has some really good interviews, some good content. So just give him a shout out, give him a look, give him a like and subscribe because he's doing some good bits. So Chad, the Villa Forever podcast, big up UTV. So yeah, as always, pleased to brief you.
Peace out.